Hello everyone. Hello everyone and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast as part of the Storm Mode and Isomer. This audio podcast as part of Mayhem and Twister. This audio podcast as part of the Storm and a Storm Robotics production. Through this audio podcast and continuing in around some of the an overview of some of the fantastic works by a science student Heidi Stephan from one of the academic institutions in the southwest United Kingdom, and looking in on at Oxford nanopore sequencing technology involvement in the genomic domain and its impact in the biomed in amongst the biomed in amongst biomed science specialties or field. So looking in on now the in on looking at nanopore sequencing versus Illumina. So Illumina is a second generation sequencing platform, or has been a second generation sequencing platform, utilizing clonal arrays alongside reversible technology and sequencing by synthesis to complete large-scale sequencing based on short reads only. Third generation nanopore sequencing utilizes nanopores and continuous electrical current to sequence data one by one, using long and short reads, producing real-time analyses for investigators and researchers. So choosing or selecting, for example, nanopore sequencing and Illumina can be based on intended use to achieve desired analyses. And if scientists, for example, researchers, investigators, etc., were using or utilizing long-based DNA or RNA, Illumina were utilizing or are utilizing long-based DNA, RNA. Illumina would not be viable or suitable. Nanopore sequencing would be due to its nanopore sequencing has more has advantages, or has more advantages, and owing to its basis where it can read sort of sequences of DNA and RNA in length in length. Another consideration when choosing or selecting between for example, Illumina sequencing, nanopore sequencing versus Illumina. Illumina is on the basis of accuracy. The nanopore sequencing can use long read lengths, which increases the chance of, which can increase the probability of error rates as well, unfortunately, making it less accurate. And Illumina sequencing can only use short reads, which actually then thus decreases the probability of error rates and increasing its accuracy. However, based on some of the considerations, both sequencing technologies, or sort of for particular RNA and DNA analyses, can produce high quality analysis or results, and can be accessible to scientists, researchers, investigators, depending on the target on the target on the target research, or the target sort of component in context of RNA and DNA. So that draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of the Storm Mode and Isomer. This audio podcast as part of the Mayhem and Twister. This audio podcast as part of the Storm and a Storm Robotics production.